Hello there and welcome to this final part of our third season at Williams. We have just finished the Austrian Grand Prix and we're basically then at the halfway mark. As you can see, we are at round 11. Well, we have just finished round 11 out of 22. Piastri has won here, gained fastest laps, gained pole position, maximum points. Duhan second, pretty good. We'll have to see if that helps on Piastri's morale, which he has been struggling with. Perez in third, Mercedes is in 4-5. Ferrari 6th, McLaren have a good showing, Alpine decent, Martin with points, and Verstappen keeps on his absolutely, well, tremendous rounds of bad luck here. Pierre Gasly also had a bad race, but in general, a lot of people are struggling on a wet race in Austria, and as you can see, a lot of people did no stoppers. Max had a crash with Sainz there, so that is why we have stops. We also had a Alpine Ocon here crash into Albon, crash him out, but well, Albon crashed into the Alpine, more like it, because Ocon unsafely rejoined the track. But in general, things are looking good. Duhan here with points, well, in the lead still, but being caught up now slightly by Piastri. So if Piastri can keep this up, we're going to have an interesting end to the season. Constructors, we have a huge lead. Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull holding positions after this one. McLaren gaining a lot. Alpine gaining a little bit on these two. But in general, a good first half of the season has been completed. We're now looking forward to the final half of the season. And again, if you do enjoy these videos, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and like the video. It helps me out tremendously. I'd like to thank everyone who's already done so, and everyone who will do so now, hopefully. So let us continue here. We again finished Austrian Grand Prix, a good 1-2. Again, it was a race in the wet, so not too many development point gained. But Porsche has once again been forgotten, which is tragic, but I know how things go at this point. 800k in extra incentives is also good to see. And let's see where we put Duhan's point. Braking should be good. Now we have some F1 Schools imitation here. We're going to attend just to see what it does. Staff experience game pause for 7 days is okay. It's a loss, of course, but not huge. We can live with that. Regulation vote, sporting changes, the removal of the bonus point for pole position. Let's just vote against this. I don't care. It's 1 point over the course of the season, 22 points. Those will, for the most part, be ours. But at this point, we don't really care too much either way. Let us continue here, and car part test center has been upgraded. Side pods have been researched, and we want to continue the upgrade path here. I think we'll make it at least level 4, and then we'll see if there is some extra, well, bonuses to be gained. Let's see. We also had the side pods. We're going to research a new part. We could do front wings and put the ATR in. I'll have a quick look at that, how that would look here. Because as I said earlier, I might have underestimated the effects of, you know, cornering. This would actually give us benefits that would outweigh the proposed changes, that you can see. And it would nullify them and would gain a little bit. Honestly, I think this is okay. We should have 2 more ATR periods, I think. 60 days each, if I remember. So we should have 2 more before the end of the season. So we'll put it into the front wing for this one. And then we'll try and put it into the underfloor for the final one. We actually have 3 researchers here finishing underfloor as well. So have a quick look here. The underfloor. 1 research project completed. We're going to start another one right away. And that should be perfectly fine. So this is getting us very close to handling the proposed changes here, but we're still gonna need at least 1 more research there to completely nullify them. They'll be done in October, which gives us just enough time to do 1 more underfloor, I think. Rear wing has also been finished, which is very good, so 2 of the big ones get researched, which is very nice. We're just gonna chuck in another rear wing here, I think, because again, it's a big part, it's important, and it helps with a lot of stats. So another rear wing, which brings us up to almost beneficial territory. We are going to get a benefit in airflow, which is good. We're still going to miss a little bit here, so we need to probably do one more research on the rear wing, which isn't the worst thing ever, and should be doable. Let's see, we're now by the practice sessions for the French Grand Prix. Regulation vote, it went through. So we're going to lose that pole position bonus points, but that's perfectly fine. It's virtually not really a change to us. Let's get our performance targets set up. Qualifying position and Q3. Both drivers in top 2. And again, fastest lap is nice to see, and we should be good. Yeah, we are now ready to start the race. Again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has watched, liked, and subscribed. I appreciate it greatly, and I hope that you will enjoy this final part of the season with me. French Grand Prix has just finished, and as you can see, Piastri won this one. Duhan with a second place. We had to manage Duhan a little bit because I didn't pay well enough attention to fuel, which is one of the reasons why I fell behind. He also fell behind at the last pit stop due to probably getting held up by back markets. Could also just have been a slow pit stop. I wasn't really paying attention. Duhan gets an extra point for pole position, Piastri for fastest lap, and Piastri catches up a little bit here on Duhan, so we'll have to see here. It's still going to be hard for Piastri to retain his championship, but Duhan has a DNF or two, then it might be completely open again. Constructors, not really anything has changed. Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull, all the same amount of points basically. Red Bull gained 1, so we'll have to see if these standings keep on, well, standing, if you will. In terms of development, we did okay. Duhan and Piastri both around 1600 points. Porsche with an extra 900, and we did really well in terms of extra money here. About 3.1 million thanks to mostly a qualifying streak. That is really, really nice. Suspension sim has been upgraded. Chassis has been researched. Very good. Piastri actually has a point here that we'll put into control for now. And wind tunnel has been degraded a bit, but I believe we are already upgrading that, so we don't need to worry. We could upgrade the suspension center, and I think we will. We have the money for it, so there's no real reason not to. Other facilities we're okay with. Getting the department again. No real reason to upgrade this to 5. There needs to be way more drivers coming in if you want to have the scouting department at 6 to actually make it worthwhile, because currently there is just one 18-year-old driver here. So again, no real reason there. Alonso without a team could be an interesting target, but we are fairly happy with how things are currently standing, so won't be doing anything. We'll have to see next season maybe if there's new drivers coming in. Suspension sim upgrade, board review upcoming, should be okay. Porsche has points to put into reactions and braking, and we're doing pretty well. Chassis, let's research a new part. We've done 1 chassis, 1 side pod, and 1 suspension, so we'll just again go through all of them. We could focus one and try and again maximize it, but in that case I think we'll be doing chassis, and we might just be, say, bye-bye to airflow, for instance, which as you can see is basically barely a boost in brake going and high speed, but I don't think the gain really changes that much. 255, 230, okay, so it's a 0.2, but I think we'll keep things as they are. The gain here isn't amazing, as you can see, but we'll just keep on researching. Yeah, we probably could progress quicker by using Intense, but I want to see if we can upgrade every single facility, so we need to save up some money for that. Post-race overview, we did pretty well. Confidence, preview Hungaroring. Q3 and Q2 should be no problem for both our drivers. Let's get that set up. And fastest lap, no problem. New 4-race qualifying, just for 1 driver though. That's a bit sad, could have been a lot of money for us if we were lucky, but it's just how it is. Let's get on with the race. Hungarian Grand Prix just finished. Nothing really special happened. We ended up doing a 1 stop instead of plan 2. We were able to stretch the hards. Piastri with fastest lap in victory. He got the later pit stop, so he had a little bit extra tire life towards the end there, which he leveraged to his advantage. And Duhan here, second place, pole position. So still pretty good. Red Bull is starting to make a comeback. There was actually a period where Verstappen was gaining on us, but that was mostly due to us running conservative on the tires to make them last at the end. So it looks like they are indeed developing their cars. Mercedes 5.7, Ferrari 6.8, Norris and Vettel, the last point getters. So with that, driver standings, one change. Sainz overtakes Russell. Constructors, no real changes here, but AlphaTauri gains a point on Alfa Romeo, and McLaren is now kind of looking like the potential winner of the top 5 battle. In terms of development, we did pretty well, I dare say. They were in a DRS train for most of the race. Share also is getting his share. And in general, yeah, it was just a good weekend. 800,000 extra from performance incentives. Not the greatest weekend we've had in terms of extra money, but every little bit helps. Mid-season board review. Board have assessed your performance as team principal for the season thus far and have compiled the below report. We're on target for the season objective. Our long-term objective we're also on target for. So I think we'll be able to complete both of these this season. I don't think we will. That's good. Another 1.5 million extra in the bank. Point and control here for Piastri. And again, I'm tempted now to just try and max the pace stats here and see how that works to, you know, keep him speedy. Now, Duhan here, we're going to put it into reactions. C2 is getting close to the 90s, which is very good. Porsche doesn't actually have any points, sadly, but just how it is. Bonington scouting has been completed. It would cost us 500,000 to buy him out. Mosconi would cost us 2.5 million to buy him out. So I'm thinking, do we want to upgrade our race engineers here? It'll make practice a lot simpler. But as you can see, those are actually his main stats. So I don't know. Do we want to change them out? According to the stats that I really, you know, care about, ours are still, you know, if not better, just as good. We don't have any problems with the setups really, so I think we'll just stick with the engineers we have now. Are you better at pit stopping? Nope. So again, communication feedback is mostly what they the others have. So I think we're just going to give a new contract here to Diego. His current contract is 980,000. So let's renew that. Let's get him for 5 seasons on car 2. Let's give him a little bit of a boost here. 1.3 million. Give him 10% in signing bonus. And let's see how he feels about this. He is very happy to renew his contract, and we'll just do that. Again, head of aerodynamics. Again, I don't think we need to switch anything there. Put a point into medium speed downforce. Again, I think these 4 are probably the most important ones. The technical chief doesn't have any more points. How far is he away? 72. Gained 180 experience a week. So should be getting one next week sometime. And we also have now the season break. 3 weeks of relaxation maybe. Team Hub has been refurbished, which is good. Contract renewal completed. Board confidence check-in. We just had the mid-season report. Car development. Still first in everything. Looking good. Except, of course, cooling. We might try to do some cheeky things there to get cooling up for next season, maybe. But I'm a bit uncertain if we want to. Upgrade complete for the hospitality area. Let's see how that one is looking now. And if we upgrade that, it'll just be team attractiveness again. So, considering we're in the #1 team in the series right now, I don't think we want to really upgrade it. Well, technically we're second based on rating, but I think we are good. We'll just be developing our facilities for the most part, and we'll see where we end up from there. Let's have a quick look here at staff, by the way, because I want to see if we have any new ones. I can't remember. I am a bit uncertain, but again, it takes so long time to level these guys up that I don't think it's worth... It's not worth getting staff and level. You want to get... you want to just buy them out. You'll save money. You'll save everything on it. Driver, though. Still only one driver at the age of 18. If I'm doing something wrong here, please let me know. But I just think there hasn't been any new gens into the game yet. Car part test center has been upgraded. Let's get it up to level 4. Because again, I just want to see if there's a another stat there. And if not, we'll still be okay. We'll still have 20 million. In terms of the projected cost cap, we should still have, yeah, about 30 million to spare. We'll have to see how we end up here at the end of the season. For now, though, I believe that our staff might have a development point, which we'll put in the underfloor. 86, good overall. And again, I want to max the underfloor for back end, just see where we end up. Suspension has been completed. And with that, we can now research a new part. And again, we're just going to do it fairly average, all things considered. And we could, again, if I wanted to max engine here, for instance, I could do this, which would give us 8% into engine, half a percentage point into drag reduction. It's still some okay gains here by minimizing focus. But we are still getting a decent amount into engine. Drag reduction could probably also be a good thing to do, so... They have fixed the sliders a little bit with 1.6, but it still needs further balancing, which I'm really looking forward to in 1.7. It's going to make the game probably a lot more challenging, and you might actually have to think about how you want to do your sliders a bit more. This will, again, improve our engine cooling by almost 4%. Well, more than 4% for next season, so... We also get a decent amount of drag. I think for now we'll do this setup here, and we'll try and get our cooling up to maybe 60% before the next season. And I'm just curious if that might help with a couple of our parts, is the main idea there. Summer break's done. Belgian Grand Prix starts in a couple of days. We're leading by 322 points. Duhan leading by 38 points. I'm just keeping an eye on PS3, so... It's going to get interesting for sure. Let's have a quick look at our drivers. If we have any points, we have one for share. Let's just get that done. And I'm just going to quickly check here, since we just had summer break and a long, you know, period of experience gain, if we have any other upgrades. I think we're good with this. I guess we will get going to the next Grand Prix. Just get performance targets done before we go to Belgium. Q3, both drivers on top 2. And we'll keep that until we fail. We could also, again, gamble here with both drivers, 1-2. It should be okay. And I think we're ready. Let's go. The Belgian Grand Prix has reached its conclusion. Another 1-2. Piastri had a good race. Duhan had a small accident. I believe he destroyed his front wing, if I remember correctly. And as a result, he ended up in a little bit of a battle with Verstappen towards the end. But he came out victorious. Tires were going off, but we made it in the end. In terms of driver championship, we are looking good. Piastri is now only 30 points behind, so it could get very interesting towards the end here. Hamilton third. Verstappen up in fourth here, 120 points. And neither Leclerc nor Hamilton scored points last race. We'll have a quick look at that. Sainz is still doing well. Constructors, AlphaTauri had a great race, climbing up 2 spots. McLaren now shared 5th. Could be interesting. Alfa Romeo getting kind of left behind. But yeah, we're going to look quickly at the results here. So as you can see, AlphaTauri 5-6 and McLaren 7-8. So they had a really, really good result here, all things considered. Leclerc sadly with the 11th place, and Hamilton got crashed down. That's how it worked, yeah. I forgot. But yeah, it's a good race for a lot of people. And we gained the development point for Piastri. One for Duhan, and not one for Porsche, but it was a good race. Let us continue. Decent amount of money from incentives, about 900k, which is very, very good for us. It helps us out a lot. And I think we are going to, as I said earlier, we're going to try and max Piastri's pace stats. Let's see how that works out for us. Duhan is almost at the 90 level where we want him. Then we'll do 85 in accuracy and control, max pace stats, and then we'll consider starting working on other things like smoothness. I feel like the buff given by smoothness right now isn't big enough to warrant a big investment, especially considering how good our car is. Wind tunnel has been completed, and with that we now have maximized our facilities, if you will, for car development in terms of, you know, the aero. So level 5 CFD, level 5 wind tunnel, and it's going to be interesting to see just how good of an effect it has on, well, our pieces. Next ATR period is in 4 days, so it'll be interesting for sure. But before that, we have a race that we need to get done, the Dutch Grand Prix. And once again, we'll be going for both drivers in Q2, both drivers in Q3, fastest lap, and we'll see if we can complete our finish position streak here with one driver in the top 2. So that's going to be good. Let's get going. Dutch Grand Prix has just been finished. 1-2 as we usually have. Did a one-stopper because we were about to run out of fuel. But we recovered and saved a couple laps worth of fuel towards the end there. Duhan with a victory and pole position gives him 26. Piastri with second place and fastest lap gives him 19. Leclerc third, Russell fourth, and a very good showing here from McLaren, 6 and 7. Bad race from Red Bull, 8-9. Hamilton made up 10 places, getting 10th. Pretty good there. Drivers' Championship, Leclerc goes up beyond Verstappen. Constructors, McLaren has now overtaken AlphaTauri and have a decent gap there. No real changes otherwise, so we'll have to see how this evolves throughout the season. Both our drivers drove well, a bunch of overtakes, so they gained a decent amount of development, which is good. And we gained a decent amount of money from performance incentives here, 2.3 million, which will be spent to improve our team. ATR period 5 starts today, and we've also finished research on the front wing, or is that tomorrow? Probably tomorrow. Car is still number 1 in everything but cooling, so that is good to see. Board has high confidence, as expected. ATR period. Let us continue to... The front wing research has been completed, so we'll do another one. Do we want to do another front wing? Potentially. We are currently benefiting. It's either that or we do, you know, put another project on the minor ones here. But I think we'll do another front wing because it's a long-term project, and that way we can focus on getting more boost to it later on. So as you can see here, the research benefit is not a huge increase. On brake cooling, it's a huge one because we're focusing on it. We could, of course, turn that down, and it'll boost the others a little bit. But again, I think we kind of need to start catching up a bit on brake cooling, try and get it a little bit higher. So do we want to invest in it? How much of an effect does it have here? 711 to 63. We'll still keep brake cooling low for this one. And we're not going to use ATR time on this. We're going to probably use it on the underfloor or the rear wing instead. New front wing research on the way. Should be good. Facility upgrade here completed for the suspension. And I'm thinking we just go level 4 on that too. And that should bring us up into a better position here. And of course, the facility effects for cooling will actually help a bit in the long run. So that should be okay. We have some important messages here. Italian Grand Prix, up and coming driver, the circuit information, and then we have the suspension completed. Let's quickly set up our performance targets. Q3 qualifying, both drivers in top 2. Has been pretty guaranteed so far. Finish position, we're going to gamble both drivers in the top 2. And we're going to guarantee, again, one driver, top 2, 5 races. It's just safer that way. Unless, of course, we both crash out, which is a real possibility if we are unlucky. But yeah, with that we're ready. Let's get going to the Grand Prix. Italian Grand Prix has just finished. As you can see, Piastri with the victory, Duhan second. Duhan had a couple of spins, which puts him a bit behind Piastri, but luckily no damage. Piastri with pole for extra point. Duhan with extra point for fastest lap. Leclerc third. Norris doing a very impressive fourth place here. Russell fifth. Sainz sixth. And once again, Red Bull having a very bad race. I don't think they had any incidents, so it's just, again, Red Bull's falling a little bit behind here, and McLaren making a pretty aggressive run upwards. In terms of Drivers' Championship, no real changes here. Constructors, same, no real changes. So we'll be moving ahead here, but McLaren is definitely tightening that grip on fifth place. In terms of driver development, we did get the DRS train going again. So they gained a decent amount, 1500, 1600. And we got the trifecta here, with every driver gaining a development point. We also made decent money from performance incentives, 2 million extra, which is very nice. With that, we should now have, 18 days until the next Grand Prix. But before that, let's level up Piastri. We could try and just go straight up to maximized one, but we'll do it balanced. Or we'll check next time. I believe braking is exactly which stats go into their own ones. But, I mean the bonus stats you get from practice. And then we'll try and max one of those stats, maybe. Financial regulations. Change to prize money would help us. Don't get me wrong. But, we're just going to vote against. We don't need extra money. Honestly, if we really wanted to, we would have voted for to weaken our competitors, but we don't need that, so we'll just vote against. Board confidence has gone up, which is what you'd expect. Rear wing has finished researching. We can now research a new part, which will be rear wing. And the big question here is, do we want to put hours into the rear wing research this time? Because doing so could give a fairly decent boost. Let's have a quick look here. How much would this boost the rear wing? As you can see, it would actually be quite a minor boost, all things considered. And that is mainly just because we are nearing the limits of what we can do in terms of expertise for the rear wing. So what I'm thinking here is that we will not do that. What we could do for fun would be, say, take the suspension, which also starting to get pretty high expertise, and have a look at what we get from maximizing it. And as you can see, it's in terms of speed, it might actually be better than the rear wing, and we haven't even gotten into the designs yet. So if we do this, for instance, for the suspension, we'd gain 4% drag due to our already low expertise. We'd gain a very high amount of low speed downforce. Same with medium speed downforce and high speed downforce. So this is basically, again, going from 2 to 5%. Brake cooling, again, we don't focus that, but if we maximized it, could get up to 8% there. So we'll have to see here. I think we'll wait a little bit. I don't know when the next ATR period is, but we should be able to get the underfloor done before then and just compare. And then we can make a more educated decision, if you will. So let's check our current projects. Underfloor in 21 days. I'm just double checking it to be safe, but I'm pretty sure that we have ATR period probably started last week. So underfloor will be done a long time before that new period begins. But what I think we might do is that we'll research chassis, for instance. Put everything in here. How would that look? And I think, again, we'll just put a little bit off on the rear wing right now. We'll focus on the parts that are lagging behind a little bit, like the chassis. And then we can work from there. So if we did this, for instance, we would gain almost up to 8% total. Well, it would be a 6% gain in stats. And as you see, it's quite a significant one. Not as good in terms of cornering, but in terms of speed, it's quite a significant one. It would even boost engine cooling a little bit. Airflow would gain also a significant boost, so we might do that, but I'm thinking we just do chassis without the time, the testing, because again, I feel like it's kind of a waste. It's definitely a big boost, all things considered, so as you can see, if we do it without, it's not even close to as big of a boost, about 2%. But I still think it's worth to save up your APR time and put it into bigger projects, all things considered. But we'll get a chassis done here, then we'll consider if we do rear wing, underfloor, or the ATR period, or maybe even side pods if you want to be greedy. Factory has been upgraded, which is good. The changes to price money got pushed through, which means we'll make more, the top 4, while the rest suffer quite significantly, actually. This is 65 million to 58, 62. That's basically, I think, a 10% loss, if not more. So, yeah, it's quite a significant decrease in prize money. And the main beneficiary would be second and third. So, I'm surprised Ferrari didn't vote for, and Mercedes, but, like, why did these teams vote for this? No self-preservation instincts. So, the factory here, we could boost it once more to see what, you know, the capacity is, but as you can see, it would also increase our costs, running costs by quite a bit. But we'll get everything to 4, as I said earlier, and then we'll have a look. It'll take 4 months, which isn't that much of a problem, all things considered. Let's also go ahead while we're at it and get Pusher his 2 points here. There we are. And our staff, are they... We have one here. We should have checked this before we started developing, which we'll put in medium speed downforce. Race engineers do not have points. Irvin will need a new contract next year, same with the Bear. We might changing out next year. We'll have to see. But we'll get one more research done before the Singapore Grand Prix. Side pods, and that puts us into the funny position where we're going to refurbish the race sim. It's expensive, but it needs to be done. It's experience after all. But yeah, we're going to do side pods here, and if we put everything into the side pods, how would that look compared to the other two if we keep them in mind? I think side pods might be winning out slightly. Chassis and side pods would be about the same. This is before we do any focuses. Sorry about that. Thought I had someone on my door. And engine cooling would go up quite a bit if we did this. Side pods could actually be the thing we just put time into here to again boost the car part expertise quite significantly. But I think we are okay. So the nice thing here is that when you do research, you can actually see exactly how the focus has been, you know, have an effect on the expertise. You can't really see this when you develop new parts or design. So as you can see, your focuses right now do a tremendous amount of good or bad for your expertise. So if we really wanted to, we could boost drag reduction purely to get more speed. We could do purely engines cooling here to boost it by almost 25% benefit. So playing around with these sliders, you can potentially create exactly the stat that you want to, you know, boost. We could give an 11% boost here to car part expertise, which would put us up around the 75% mark next season. So maximizing a single stat is doable, but if we want to maximize a stat, I'm going to do that on the underfloor first. And I'm just going to cancel here. We're going to do the side pods again because they actually are a pretty decent one. And we're just going to do this. It's general upgrade for the entire car. I'm happy with it currently. But as you can see, if you play around with the sliders, you can create some pretty just straight up insane pieces to play around with if you do it well. Now Singapore, performance targets, Q3 qualifying position should be okay. Both cars, top 2, Q3. Usual, fastest lap should be good, and we'll have same qualifying position streak we had last time, where one car in top 4 for 4 races, so that should be okay. With that said, we did get a lot done between the last race and this one, so I might have gone a little bit too fast through it. I apologize, but if you need me to slow down, please just let me know in the comments and I'll try. I'm trying to not extend these episodes for more than it's necessary. These are really long to begin with, so I kind of want to minimize the amount of fluff. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll continue. I'm not ending this episode here, don't worry. We're just going to the race weekend. Pretty eventful race in Singapore. 1-2 for us, but the events were 5 DNFs. These three guys all ended up crashing out together, causing a red flag. I don't remember which Aston Martin, but one of them touched a wall, spun into the other one, and then Ricciardo came around the corner and hit them both. Sainz had an accident, I don't remember exactly what. Lando Norris introduced himself to the wall, and in general it was a lot of safety cars and made it almost an interesting race. Piastri and Duhan did what they were expected. Piastri ended up falling a little bit behind this race, so he might have morale issues again. But once again, they split the extra point, one for pole and one for the fastest lap. In terms of Drivers' Championship, Duhan is now slowly gaining a huge advantage. Unless he DNFs, I don't think Piastri will be able to catch up with him. Still, all to play for in the fight for third here. Hamilton has 10 points on Leclerc, 17 points on Verstappen, and a lot of points on Russell. So these three will probably fight for third. And in terms of the constructors, McLaren now still probably will get 5th. AlphaTauri probably 6th. Romeo 7th. Alpine 8th. We'll have to see. It's been a while since Alfa Romeo scored points, so they could end up falling behind Alpine. These three all have maintained their gaps more or less, so it'll be interesting to see these last couple of races how everything ends up, well, being. Now, we got development points. We also got an extra million in performance incentives, which is really good. And we basically, I think, upgraded all the facilities we really want to. So that's an interesting one in itself. We updated our circus-based... Oh, yeah, Singapore data. Very good. So I believe I read tomorrow that we're going to have the underfloor done, which is going to be an interesting event. Now, on the other hand, we do have points for Piastri and Duhan. And again, I'm just going to do balance here. We'll max it out during either this or the next season, so it shouldn't be a problem. And in general, again, Duhan getting all his pace stats to 90. We'll get accuracy up next. Sorry, control, not accuracy. And Pocher is also doing rather well. We might have to do some contracts here in the end. Okay, and high, because he's doing really well. Now, underfloor is going to be interesting in terms of research, because we will be messing around a little bit with sliders here. So, when it comes to understanding expertise, I've realized that research is your best way of doing it, because it gives you the data instantly. You don't have to develop the piece to get the data. So if we put the CFD hours in here too, we'll have a quick look at some of the gains we can expect. So drag is basically just, as you can see, top speed. And currently we have a car that is extremely speedy. So we have to consider what will give us the biggest advantage here. Let's say we do something like this in order to maximize gain. So it would give us 0.4, even less than that, research expertise and drag reduction. But it would give us 2.5% in low speed, 2.5% in medium speed, and 2% in high speed, which actually cancel out the negatives. If we did everything, we would get 3.74 in drag reduction, we would get 0.7 in low speed, 1.5%, 1.5%, and we'd still retain the 2% here, and we'd be able to get airflow sensitivity above the expertise loss. But I am wondering what is worth it or not, because as you can see, airflow sensitivity helps your dirty air cornering, but we don't really do much dirty air cornering anymore because we rarely behind others. So airflow sensitivity is something that we can go to the bottom with, because our cornering does get improved, and that will also improve our expertise in the 3 other stats. So I'm thinking we might go just this ATR period into the underfloor, but the gain is really minimal. Now let's say we do suspension instead, and again here we're gonna do kind of the same thing that we did with the underfloor. We're gonna go maximum on these 3. We're not going to care too much about the airflow on the front here. Again, as you can see, it's very minor changes. But by doing this, we will be able to boost the, as you can see, the research benefit in terms of the expertise quite massively. So brake cooling 2, we could maximize this. We could also do this, but it'll make everything else suffer a little bit. But the gain, it's not really close to, well, it's not too close to the underfloor. But it's just, we kind of, I think, try and get everything's expertise up to probably 70. Then we can work from there, because that will be a good good point to work from. So if we do something really funny here, and just boost the brake cooling maximum, we could, as you see, get 22% expertise from this research. So it's an interesting one for sure, on how you can actually maximize and minimize gain by doing this. So if we focus only on cornering on this piece, as you can see here, we could get some pretty drastic boosts, all things considered. 5% on high speed. What would this be? 5.5%. 5.5% because we already have 0.4. And we gain 1.5. 0.11. Split in 2 because this number goes up to 2.00. Gives us 5.5%. So in terms of research and gain, it's actually quite an interesting one, and I'm having a hard time to decide what I want to put the hours into in terms of the research benefit, because cornering is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not something we super need. We did this for our rear wing. We wouldn't actually really change the drag reduction at all in terms of the expertise, but we would still gain some acceleration. We would gain downforce for our low speed, medium speed, and high speed cornering, which will actually be a net gain. So I'm really wondering if we want to do that for the rear wing. Just focus for the time being on maximizing certain stats, and then we can lower the benefit later on. So either that, or we do everything at once, which also isn't, you know, the best. So I guess it's straight up going to require testing into what stats are actually the best. Because let's be honest, in this particular we focus a lot on top speed because of my aversion to the DRS. So I might be wrong, I might not be. Who really knows? But as you can see, even with the underfloor here, it's not a huge gain. We put all the hours in, and it's a huge investment that's going to take time. We're still going to lose progress for next year, as you can see. So what I'm thinking is we do intense work on the underfloor, probably 2 projects next year, and we put the hours into the rear wing here. I think that is our best benefit, all things considered. Aside of that, we put it into, say, the suspension, which could work too, but I think we're going to do this. Again, drag reduction, it's important, don't get me wrong, but currently we're not winning by our top speed, we're winning by our cornering. So we're going to go away from the top speed focus that I've done so far, simply because cornering now has become what we are winning races on. We're winning races on pace, of course. Top speed is important, acceleration is more important in that regard, I dare say, because, well, it's what we live by. We can boost top speed later. For now, though, we're going to put some effort into maximizing the rear wing's downforce, just as a project of mine during this, during the rest of this playthrough, I guess. It's going to be done in November, which means that we'll have time to do other smaller projects, but this will be probably the last big rear wing project this season, so that should be okay. Now, I used a lot of time to figure out what I want to do there. Apologies, but we are actually reaching the point where the car part development, the around the 70-75% mark, where the scaling is hitting us so hard that anything down at 65%, for example, will benefit way more from being boosted up to 70 than, you know, 74, 75 to 76, 77. So again, it's a consideration to make. In terms of our current performance against Ferrari, we still have a huge advantage. We don't need to be too concerned. Red Bull, still have a huge advantage. Don't need to be too concerned. And the fact that we still have the top speed advantage is also why I'm saying that we should just do some focus onto our turning here. Turning acceleration and see how high we can get them. But yeah, that was my little rant. Let's get going to the Japanese Grand Prix. And we'll have a research ready as soon as it's over. So before I get right into it, let's get the performance incentive set up. Both drivers Q2, Q3. Shouldn't be an issue. Fastest lap. Both drivers in the top 2. Shouldn't be an issue, but we can't guarantee it. Accidents do happen. And with that, we're off to the Japanese Grand Prix. Japanese Grand Prix has been finished, and as you can see, we finished 1-3. We had an interesting case there. So as you can see, time-wise, we had a better time than Verstappen. The reason why we dropped down below him is because we had a 5-second penalty. Because Piastri ran into the back of someone else. So it happens, unlucky. Now, as you can see, we started fairly far back, 17-14 in terms of positions gained. We decided to switch out the engines and the ERS on both cars, so that we have fresh ones for the final 4 races of this season, which should be okay. And honorable mentions here to Albon for managing to get up to 7th in his Aston Martin. Very impressive. And in terms of driver championship now, Piastri is basically locking... Sorry, Duhan is basically locking out Piastri. So, bit of a shame, really. 4th between Verstappen and Leclerc right now. Same amount of points. Going to be interesting. Can they also catch Lewis? Is going to be another big one. So, still a lot to fight for here. And it's going to be interesting towards the end. Now, in terms of the constructors... I don't think these standings will change, to be honest. I don't think these standings will change either. So I think this might be the final standings, and it's kind of what we expected. Shame for Haas falling down. Aston making it up. It's very nice to see. Alfa Romeo has fallen a bit, but McLaren being up in 5th is kind of a good thing to see here, in all honesty. Now Piastri and Duhan did good here, because they started so far back. They both gained a lot of... overtakes, more for Piastri since he had the accident to put him in the back again. But Piastri was also very, very stuck in a DRS train, which is why he has 36 failed overtakes. Of course, the overtake stat could probably help there a bit, but it was still good, I dare say. As both of the drivers didn't make it to top 2, we didn't get the finish position. It's a shame about the penalty, otherwise we would have been good. But that is just how life is sometimes. Car part test center has been upgraded to tier 4. Chassis has been researched. And with that, we should be virtually done here with this upgrade. Yeah, if you upgrade again, it's just to a temper center. But as you can see, it's virtually, compared to the other upgrades, it's not really a high monthly upkeep. So I'm thinking we might as well just do this and, well, looking towards next season. And the chassis research will research a new part. Again, the underfloor right now is so advanced for us that even if we research it without a gain, if you will, the expertise gain isn't actually really high. I feel like it's to some degree just a waste of time. We have a bit too much expertise. We can regain that expertise on the underfloor during preseason next season if we really want to. So what we are going to be focusing on is suspension and the smaller parts, and we're going to be trying to, you know, bring them up to snuff in terms of their expertise. So we could go brake cooling here and just focus it. We could also do this with the airflow, which, as you can see, doesn't really change the stats that much. Barely changes anything, but it does change the expertise gain on the other stats here, which could, again, benefit us. We could also go down on the drag reduction scale and purely go for our cornering here if we really wanted to. But I think we'll do what we usually have done. We'll do it like this. I'm thinking we also do this for the brakes. And we try and get the brakes a little bit up. But as you can see, during this season, we haven't really had too many accidents. There have been some races where we had a lot more lockups than others. There have been some races where we had some spins. But in general, we haven't really had too many problems with the cooling, I think. So we'll do a little bit of investment into it, but I don't think we need to. It's mostly so the other team can catch us up. And that should be okay. Race sim has been refurbished, which is good. Congratulations for the race. Very good to hear. And yeah, this season is nearing its end. It's going to be interesting to see what we do for next one. But I have some thoughts. I'll be going through them at the end of the season. But in general, we have been giving the... let's put these to level 2. We have been giving the knowledge that the next patch will come in the... not this weekend. Not this weekend. Not this week, but next week sometime. So I'm thinking we maybe do another season here with Williams. Full season. We test a little bit, see if we can get some new gens. We, again, do some tweaking of the research, see what is most effective. And generally just enjoy this save until the balance patch with 1.7. And the changes coming then. And then we can either start a new Williams save or say take another team, Haas, Aston Martin, any other team that we find interesting. We could do another Williams, of course, but I guess I'll put up a poll maybe on the YouTube page. I believe I can do that. So see what we do when for 1.7. But I'll get through the United States Grand Prix here, and we'll see how we do. Just finished the United States Grand Prix. Good performance from our team. Doing a little bit behind here, probably due to maybe due to wear on his tires, but it was very minor. 4% between these two. We had Piastri do a push left towards the end, so I assume he got left behind mainly due to pushing through back markers. They split their points again, and in general, no big surprises except for Ricciardo with a 7th, which is good for Alpine. Drivers' Championship, Verstappen and Hamilton, 1 point between them, 3 races to go. Both of them had 1 DNF. So this is going to be interesting, especially considering that Red Bull did have that dreadful start of the season and the mid-season. Constructors, Ferrari and Red Bull catch up to Mercedes. Red Bull is a little bit too far behind to call him really a, challenger. But Ferrari might be able to make something work here. The last couple of races. Alpine making a lunge for Alfa Romeo. So things looking spicy down there. In terms of development, our drivers were running, close to each other. Porsche got forgotten, sadly. But a decent haul of points. Okay amount of extra performance incentives here. Almost 900,000. And yeah, a good weekend. So we have points here. Again, we're just going to maximize pace. I probably value it a bit too much, but it's just my preference. Control here is what we'll level for Duhan. Try and get rid of the accidents. And again, the race car here, we don't need defending or overtaking when we are this far ahead at this point. Adaptability could be good, but again, it's just if you're running the wrong tires. So, well, the wording is wrong tires, but I assume it's wet racing, which should still be okay. Porsche does actually have a point. We'll put that in braking. And with that, we shall continue. Helipad in poor condition. We need to remedy that. Again, it's not a huge bonus, as you might expect, because it's just a 1%er. But when you're talking 900,000 extra, well, in incentives, give me a second here. Sorry, I need to read that again. Sponsor targets payout. Yeah, so I assume this is all of the sponsor incentives. An extra percentage on 900k might just be 9,000, but again, it helps. If it's all payouts, it's going to become a lot more over the course of the season. So we might have to sit down and do the math over the course of the season to see if the helipad is worth it, but it's so cheap that I feel like it might be. It could also just be a trap, and I just got a little bit overexcited. We'll go now at the Mexican Grand Prix. We'll go Q2 for both our drivers. We'll get qualifying, both drivers top. Should be no problem at all. Fastest lap, and this should do both of these, so we'll have a potentially massive payout here this weekend. Let's get going to the Mexican Grand Prix. We are just done with the Mexican Grand Prix. Duhan did well, gained fastest lap, pole position, race victory. And Piastri had a bad race here. He crashed out in lap 2, locked up. Front left into the wall, followed by back left, rear wing, everything. He was just straight up out. He completely destroyed a gearbox, so we'll have to see how his components are looking for the next race. In terms of the other results there, Ferrari 2-3, Red Bull 4, Mercedes 5th, Perez 6th. So it spices up the third place fight here at least. Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes have, well, 3 points between them if they, well, in this fight for third. Sainz and Russell are fighting for 6th, but I think Sainz might have just clinched it here. We'll have to see. In terms of constructors, Ferrari overtakes Mercedes, Alpine overtakes Romeo, but it's still going to be an interesting fight here towards the end. Now, with that said, let's get going. Only 115 points, that hurts a lot. But what we are going to be doing here is... they all 3 got points though. Nice. We did get a decent payout for our performance incentives, as you can see. Again, very good payout. So that is nice to see. I had something I was thinking about here, but I just suddenly got a brain freeze. Apologies. Let's get going. Oh yeah, Piastri's car. We wanted to have a look and see just how destroyed it is. But before that, let's put in points in braking, put points in control, and put some points in reactions. There we are. So, we need to go to cars. Car 1. Powertrain. The engine did get a bit of a hit. ERS 2 took a bit of a hit. The gearbox is the big one here. We're going to have to get a new one because he completely destroyed it. So for the next race, we are going to have to buy a new gearbox. Just not a choice. The engine and ERS we should be able to manage. 2 races left. So yeah, bit sad about the gearbox, but nothing we really can do about that. It's just gone. Front wing research has been completed. Let's start the next one. And this might also just be another front wing research in all honesty, because yeah, we are so dominant that cornering is now our main aspect that we gain from. So what I'm thinking here is that we might just go like this. Focus on the downforce to, as you can see, gain a pretty significant at this stage gain. Still going to get a benefit on the brake cooling. Still going to get benefits to airflow sensitivity, although they're minor. So, let's see here. Thinking this might be okay. It should still be okay. It's still a decent boost. And of course, we are going to be losing a lot on a lot of our expertise here to begin with. So, let's just do this on the front wing. We'll just barely get it done in time here. We'll put 4 engineers on it. We just need it done for December. And I know that I did have an aversion to turning earlier, but I've been proven wrong. And if we make mistakes, we should just admit it. It's just the easier way to do things. Car development report. Still first in everything but cooling. Like to see that. We do need to manufacture some pieces here, as you can see. We're lacking in basically everything. Chassis, front wing, rear wing, suspension. Let's get one chassis made here for the last couple of races. Let's get the suspension made, I believe was one of them too. Yep. Let's get rear wing made, one of them too. Should be okay. And the last thing was front wings, which we have actually destroyed 3 of. So let's get let's just get 3 new ones. We have the money for it in terms of our finances here, the cost cap. Again, I am tempted to try and break it. We can if we really want to. But if we break the cost cap, I think it's next season. Just because we'll have more facility upkeep to, you know, lower to begin with. And of course the fact that we have spent a lot of money on just research that we could have used development on Intense to, you know, get closer to that, that limit, if you will. Suspension sim upgraded, very good. Side pods have been researched. Rear wing has been manufactured. General, a good day. Let's get the new side pod research underway. And again, I don't think we're going to do any more research on the underfloor here this year. We're going to wait for next year and then just do some intense, very intense research projects going for probably the entire year. well, not intense development, intense, to just see how the difference in effect is. So again, I'm thinking, I am tempted to just try and get cooling up, and honestly I think we will, just for the sake of it. So if we do this, we'd gain 6% in cooling. This is pure expertise, and again, we'll still get a tiny boost here, we'll still gain for next year, so let's try and get the engine cooling up a little bit here, just because we can, really. That's all. We're gonna borrow all 6 engineers for this, and that should give us time to do another project afterwards. So at this point, I'm just starting to experiment, if you will, a little bit, because we have the gap to do so. Should we do something more with the side pods here? We have gained compared to next year, so I think, again, we'll just do the same. Let's get the engine cooling a little bit up here, because there's more stats to focus on the side pods. As you can see, we can really boost our expertise in engine cooling by a good 8% by doing this project, so we'll do it. Put 5 engineers on it. We might be able to pull a very short one, but that's a bit of a close one in December, which means that what we probably should do, let's go to our chassis research project and nab one of the engineers and put him on to the side pods here, like so. It'll save us, still, it's just another 2 days, but it might give us the time to quickly finish a smaller project, which is what we'll be going for then. Suspension has been made, good. Will we get the last part done too? The chassis manufactured. So now we're just missing the 3 front wings, and then we will be good. I think most of them have already been made, so we don't really have any concerns there. Both drivers in Q3, 1-2 qualifying, shouldn't be a concern. Finish position, both drivers in the top there. And we'll have to hope here that we don't have any, you know, crashing out. There's 2 races left. Since it's just so little left of the season, let's gamble with both drivers in the top 2 for the final 2 races. And there we are. Let's go to Brazil. We have just finished the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil, and as you can see, we didn't win. First time we didn't win this season, and as you can see, it's due to the man lacking from the sheets here. Piastri made a move on lap 18 into the first corner, locked up, and took himself out along with Duhan. Both of them suffered damage. Duhan 2 pieces of minor damage to chassis and suspension, I believe, as well as a busted front wing. Piastri had a busted front wing, but he also had suspension damage, so we retired him later. So the accident didn't happen lap 18, it happened a bit earlier than that, but he was losing out in last place to virtually everyone, so we decided to just, well, retire him, because we were saving the car. Duhan did manage to fight his way up to second, though, with the extra pit stop, and as you can see, Leclerc had a very good race, and virtually put himself way ahead here in the fight for third. 14 points ahead of Hamilton, 15 points ahead of Verstappen, so this is going to be kind of an interesting final race of the season. Constructors, it seems to be settled for the most part. We'll have to see here, unless a big upset happens in the final race here. This should be how the season ends, so we'll have to see here. Luckily this time, I don't think Piastri ruined his car too hard, so we should be good on that. But we do lose from, again, finish position streak. As soon as I put both drivers in the top 2, we crash out of even top 1. I wonder why. But yeah, it's just funny to me that that happened. Accidents do happen though, not really much we can do about it. I don't think, yeah, me setting the performance target has anything to do with it. It's just a case of bad luck that can be frustrating, but nothing we can do about it, so we'll just have to live with it. We are now at Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and I'm just going to test our luck here. We're going to put both our drivers in Q3, both our drivers 1-2, as we usually do in qualifying. Fastest lap should be no problem, and that, I'm not allowed to even change that, but I wanted to put both drivers 1-2, and the game has just said, no, you're not allowed. Which I think might be good for us. So let's see how this race goes. I just feel like I need to share this before the race about what a season Piastri has had. As you can see, he has completely ruined 4 gearboxes over the course of this season. If we compare that to Duhan here in his car, he's completely ruined 2, He's severely damaged one, and he has normally / occasionally used one as well. Comparing that with Piastri's four completely ruined ones kind of tells you how Piastri has been having an off season. But enough about that, let's get to the race. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is over, and with it the final race of the season. I forgot about the fact that we had double points here, which could have made things work for Piastri had Duhan crashed out. Sadly, he did not. Leclerc third, 30 points for Ferrari, very important for them. Bottas managed to gain up into fourth there, which gains 24 points for McLaren. Vettel there, 5th place, very important. Verstappen 6th, Perez 8th, Norris 7, Stroll 9th, and 10th place goes to Gasly. So if you consider this race have really shaken things up a bit. Sainz crashing out here is actually quite detrimental to Ferrari. The fact that McLaren managed 4th and 7th is great for them. Vettel 5th is also quite a achievement. But what does this have to say for the standings is probably what we're going to have a look at. So Duhan wins with 101 points. Piastri 2nd with almost 200 points to 3rd. But 3rd is Leclerc. 4th is Verstappen, who overtakes Hamilton here. And Vettel, with his good performance here, goes up to 11th place, which is actually quite impressive, all things considered. Other than that, no real changes, except for a couple of losses of positions due to mostly Vettel's great run here. And yeah, it's a pretty impressive one. In terms of constructors, no changes here. Red Bull almost took Mercedes. There's 1 point between them. But other than that, the standings were basically set. Haas is currently not having a good time. Let's just leave it at that. They crashed into each other in this final race of the season. So I would assume Steiner is not very happy with these drivers of his. But yeah, looks like we've had a rather good session, all things considered. And well, good session, good season. And we make a little bit of money here at the end, so we can be very, very happy with that. Now, in terms of next season, I don't know if we'll play it or not. I have some ideas what we could do instead, but I'm thinking we do it just purely because there's now around a week, maybe a week and a half, 10 days until the next patch is planned to be out. So we might just do something else, do like a 1-season challenge with Haas, see what we can pull off with other teams, and just generally do some testing, some tutorials, and look into things before next season. But again, there are still a couple of things I want to test with Williams during this season, so we might end up doing both, honestly. Board performance review and research incoming. Let's see how that went. Duhan got 1st place in Driver Championship. We now have 2 champions on the team. And we won 1st place with a lot of points. Just what I can say. We completed both of our objectives here, which is good. Again, we kept the same team rating, surprisingly enough. I would assume this go up because, again, we've won both championships. We have now 2 drivers who have won the championship. That might just be a bug. We'll have to have a look. Rear wing research completed. Let's have a quick look here on our, in-mail. So, Duhan sends a thanks to you for getting the Driver Championship. Such a great season. This is an amazing way to end it. He'll be celebrating. Laka has apparently points that I forgot to put into his underfloor. It'll be important for next season. And our head of aerodynamics has a point that we'll put into low speed downforce, I think, which will upgrade him. We might change him out next season, but we'll have to consider that. Now, part development lock. We can't do any more designs, but we can do research, so nothing really changes. Congratulations from our technical chief. Very nice to see. Duhan wins Drivers' Championship. Very good. Season results. Yeah, we had 500 plus points over Ferrari. We had more points than they did. That's the gap. So that's a bit of a yikes moment. But it's just how things are. Championship success, as expected. And the boardroom is currently in poor condition. Let's spend some money to refurbish it. We have plenty to go on. 43 million. And as I said, I don't think we really have anything we really need to upgrade. There'll be a little bit of a change to expertise here. We'll get more money. and pole position will lose its bonus point. So not the greatest, but not the worst. In terms of our pit crew, there's still 70 in the 3 stats that I'd say matter. So I wish there was a way to, you know, maintain a good pit crew, pay a little bit extra money. I don't know, to just make sure that we can maintain their skill level a little bit better. I understand it's probably balanced, but I just feel it's a bit lazy. Now, do we want to go through another rear wing before the... We can, but that would require basically a no focus build, which won't really work out for us. So we'll not be doing a rear wing. We'll be doing the more of the minor parts. So suspension is really the only thing we can do as a minor part. So we might actually have made a bit of a mistake here, but I think we'll be good. Let's go everything as we usually do, I think. We could also, again, get the brake cooling a little bit up for next season. Let's go down on the airflow. If we can maintain, that's good. And drag reduction. Low speed. I guess we will sacrifice brake cooling, honestly. Just to try and get a little bit of an increase in the other stats here. And that should be okay. There we are. So again, you can sacrifice one or more stats to get a bigger boost in other stats. And running that with Intense will still give you the 1.5 times expertise bonus. So if you design parts, you can actually do things a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently than we have done. We've just done a very simple way of doing things. So let me just explain this really quick if we use engine cooling as an example here. So we currently have maximized our research benefit in engine cooling. Now, if we went through with this with Intense, instead of that 5%, we would gain 7.5%, maybe 8%. So you add those 8%, so it would be around 12% expertise, which would be quite massive, all things considered. So you need to keep that in mind when you design your parts. But in general, the focuses do need a little bit more balancing, and I'm looking forward to it. So in terms of race engineers, this seems to be fake news. Yeah, these guys have got... Okay, I understand. I read it wrong. His original contract is 4 years. He has 13 months left. So he'll be here secured until 2026 in reality. He'll be here until the end of 25. So they need a little until end 2025 should be there, just so that you don't get heart attacks like I do. Now, our drivers still have good contracts, all of them. We don't need to really do anything. We could consider giving them better contracts, really, but hey, they signed them. Still, the upgrade has been completed. Car part test center, side pods, and for share has points to use, which we will, well, put into what we usually do, pace. Other than that, we have up and coming drivers. Crawford. Need to do a little bit of refurbishment here. Again, we have a lot of money, so we can do it no problem. The wind simulator refurbishment is going to be expensive, but it's something we need to do. And it takes more than a month, though, which is kind of sad, because that means we'll have a lack of views for the first piece we make, most likely. Unless we do not use wind tunnel. Car part test center has been upgraded. I actually maximized it, and I think we'll do the same over here then. Because we forgot about suspension simulator. Well, I did, so a bit late there, but we can maximize it no problem. We still have 20 million left over here. And will we be able to make another side pod before January? We will not, so there will be no more projects here. A little bit of waste of time, really. If I played my card correctly, we could have gotten another research in, but let's be honest, our car is still very good. So I don't think it will be that big of a negative. And we can play around a little bit with expertise in the pre-season next year. Boardroom refurbishment complete. This should be memorabilia, I assume. Yep. Refurbishment completed. And we'll just quickly and shortly now move on to the end of the season. Suspension research completed. So I'm looking forward to just how effectively the tour center we can refurbish. how effective our car will be next season compared to our competitors, because we've only done research, remember, since the research window opened, basically. And that's going to be interesting. Now, did I see an interesting jump on the calendar, or was I just, you know, not paying too good attention? Let's have a quick look here. Looks like we are okay. It's just me having a mental glitch, if you will. Tool center has finished, and chassis research has been completed. That is all the research we're going to do this season. And there we are. I think that is the end, and we'll prepare for next year's pre-season. There we are. Thank you very much for everyone who has followed the series so far. We'll have at least a look on the car before we decide what we're going to do with this season. We'll play around a little bit in pre-season, maybe, as a testing ground for completely figuring out the design process. But we almost broke the 1,000-point barrier. We would have if PS3 wasn't so unlucky with his DNFs, I think, which was pretty good. We again had a huge lead in the Drivers' Championship. But it looks like some drivers here maybe have switched teams or are without contract, because that looked a bit weird. So yeah, Hamilton, free agent. Leclerc, free agent. Sainz, free agent. Perez, free agent. Looks like we're going to have a very interesting transfer window, all things considered. So, yeah. Again, I have had a lot of fun playing this series. I hope you have enjoyed. And we are kind of reaching its, I guess, natural conclusion. In terms of the drivers, as we've seen, we haven't really seen any new ones. Oh, here we go. These are, I assume, the first set of new drivers that we've ever seen. They're all around the 50 mark, all 18 years old, which, you know, makes them a bit difficult to race, in all honesty. It's going to take effort, a lot of effort. So, I don't know. If we find a talent around 60, they need to basically be here at age 16, need to get some sort of driver academy in if we want to have new gens. Because, again, these aren't great, but they're not super terrible either. So we'll maybe have a bit of a look more into it next year, but I like to see that there are some sort of new gens in here. Are there any new gens in terms of staff? Don't think so. In terms of race engineers, I'm unsure. I haven't paid too much attention to the race engineers, to be honest. That's my bad, but it takes a lot of time to race them, in all honesty. But again, with that said, we are going to end the season here. We had a great one. Most of our facilities have been maximized here. We're just lacking a little bit of upgrades. Scouting department, again, I don't think it's worth it. Just keep it low. And in the other ones here, we are also looking really good here. Facilities have been bought. Board's confidence is at an all-time high, which is what it should be. Team rating, though, as you can see, it has gone up. It was 80 something. I don't remember what they thought it was, but it's gone up to 961 now. So it did get upgraded with thanks of our victory this year. So I guess we're just either not updated properly or just a kind of small glitch. In terms of finances, season balance, we done pretty well here, I dare say. We started with 23 million. We have about that. I believe we'll get one more payout since we're in December. But yeah, projected income, projected outgoings. We spent more money than we got, actually, by 1.5 million. So that's an interesting one. Board might not like that, but we now have upgraded everything. So I think that is an investment that is more than worth it. So it should be okay. Cost cap, we still have 22 million to go on. So again, even for us, which basically our top team, we put everything into kind of part development, pre-season, early season, and then we spend, you know, a third of that doing car research for the rest of it, and that works pretty great in terms of, yeah, you know, staying under the cost cap. We spend the most on facilities, which is no big surprise. Scouting team, very cheap. Pit crew, very cheap. I feel like you should spend more on your pit crew here, honestly. I wish there was a like a rolling slider. You can pay more, you'll get better pit crew talents. Is there something like that here that I have forgotten? Not seen? Not really. So again, wish you could do a bit more with the pit crew, just how things are. But now it's just me ranting. So again, thank you very much for following this season. I do hope that you've enjoyed, and we'll make a decision on what we do. We'll probably do pre-season next year just to see how the car is compared to everyone else. And in general, we might just also do next season to do a couple of tests on driver performance, among other things. So yeah, it's been a good run. In anticipation to patch 1.7, again, I'm thinking of doing maybe some guides, tips and tricks, and potentially just do some one-offs like trying to make Haas champion in season 1, things like that. Alfa Romeo has a very good starting point to do that, so yeah, it could be interesting. Thank you again very much for watching. If you've followed this series, I would be very grateful if you could like and subscribe. If you can't tell me, I'm kind of mentally drained right now. I've been rushing to get this done before the end of the day. So again, thank you very much for following. It means a lot to me to have people watch this, and yeah, thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting. Everything's great. See you next time. Bye bye.